Yo, what's going on, guys? Crispy Flakes here. Welcome to Extra Crispy. For today's video, man, we got an article by Bleacher Report with a very intriguing title titled The Questions Every NBA Team Has Failed to Answer This Season. So we are going to answer these questions to the best of my ability, guys. So I will say, we are kind of at the point where, if there's like a question like, where are we going to get more three-point shooting from? It's a little bit too late for that because, the NBA trade deadline, all that stuff's up. So, I guess maybe if you want to go for like 53 Kyle Korver, you could probably do something like that, man. But yeah, if you guys don't mind dropping that like, by the way, and of course, I never say this, man, but subscribe if you are new to the channel. If you are experiencing this video and are not subscribed, if you don't mind doing that, man, would be greatly appreciated. Okay, here we go. If you guys want to answer these, in the comments, feel free to do so. So we got Atlanta Hawks. Is John Collins a keeper? Well, Hawks GM, if you are watching this, I will say John Collins is a keeper to an extent, okay? I believe he's a restricted free agent. If a team goes out and offers him a max contract, I would not match that. I do not think John Collins is a max contract player on a winning championship team. Now, if you want to keep him because you just feel like, hey, we might as well, then go for it. But he's a fantastic player. But I'm just saying, he's a keeper at the extent of how much are you willing to pay him. You know what I'm saying? You want to pay him $25 million a season, offer him that. If a different team, offers him way more money, then I think that team that's keeping him for that amount is probably worse off because of it in the long run. That's no disrespect to John Collins. That's just the answer to this question, man. He's a keeper to an extent. Next up, we have, can Kemba conquer his knee troubles for the Boston Celtics? I mean, when it comes down to basketball, running up and down the basketball court, especially now in a 7-2 game season where games are more condensed together, especially the run of the playoffs, knee injuries and stuff like that, man. That's not something you just get over just like that, especially when you do all that wear and tear on it. It's going to take an entire offseason of rest to really get it back. So if Kemba can be 70%, that's great. But at the same time, I'm not expecting to see 100% Kemba Walker. Knee issues, that's just something that's really hard to get over. You know what I'm saying? Just heal itself when you're playing basketball all the time. Next up, we got the Brooklyn Nets. Can they get stops when they need them? Yes, we have still not seen those three guys play together yet, really, man. So, Kevin Durant, he's one of the better defensive players in the NBA. I know with injury and stuff, maybe he's slowing down a little bit, but I still think he's a fantastic I almost said MVP. Well, hey, he's that too when he's completely healthy and playing and stuff, man. But, obviously got Bruce Brown, who I like a lot defensively. The interior, Deandre Jordan, I know is not the player he once was, but just him not playing, replacing Marcus Aldridge, I still think that, DeAndre is still a better defensive player, although maybe not much anymore. And Blake Griffin, not really a great defensive player. So, yeah, this team's going to win the championship, man, let's be honest. Okay, let's moving on. Charlotte Hornets, who's their center for the future? Probably somebody in this draft class or the next draft class. It's not anybody currently on the roster. They do have that, I believe, Vernon Carey, who I think could be somebody solid maybe, but I don't think anybody too spectacular. I really think they need to go for somebody. I'm trying to think right now, who's a good center in the draft class? Obviously, Evan Mobley's there, but the Hornets are going to be a bit better than to get a guy like that. So, nobody that they have right now is probably the best way to say that, right? And obviously there's free agency. Maybe they offer some money to a guy like a Rashawn Holmes or somebody along those lines. But yeah, I've been saying forever, Zeller is the definition of basic center. They need to move on for him at some point for this team to take the next step. Next, we have Chicago Bulls. Who moves the ball? So, yeah, the thing about Zach LaVine and Kobe White, I would say especially Kobe White, because Zach LaVine's a shooting guard, so I want my shooting guards to shoot the basketball. Obviously, we can, average 5 assists. It's absolutely amazing. But when it comes down to Kobe White, Kobe is definitely more of a shot-first type of point guard. Not focused really on getting the other teammates involved and stuff like that. So, I would love to see Patrick Williams maybe up his passing game and stuff like that and just become maybe one of those small forwards that you can kind of run things through and everything. So, I still think long-term for Kobe White, his best role is going to be as a 6-man point guard on a bench, man. I don't think that's a bad thing. We've seen guys like Jamal Crawford and Lou Williams, despite them not being point guards, make a killing at that spot. So, I would like to see them go for some more playmaking, maybe become the NBA offseason. We got the Cleveland Cavaliers. What's the best way to end the Kevin Love saga? Just damn do it, bro. We have been hearing, it seems like for about 4 years now, man, about the idea. Kevin Love to the Timberwolves, to the Portland Trailblazers. That's going to happen. Kevin Love's going to go to the Phoenix Suns. Every single season, this man's name is brought up. And then, what did they recently do? What was it, 2018? I think it says down there. They offered this man, a max contract. So, I think the best way to end it is just to move on. Just get rid of him somehow. And that's nothing against Kevin Love. He just doesn't fit the rebuild, obviously, man. So if there's a trade offer for him, take it. I don't care what it is. Just it's time to move on. We've been waiting forever for it to happen. Next up, we got the Dallas Mavericks. When is the third star coming? That's a good question. I'm thinking about their roster right now, and obviously Luka and Kristaps is the main building pieces right there. I think they might have a little bit of cap space. I believe Tim Hardaway's contract is up this season, so there's obviously some room in kind of a weaker free agent class to maybe go for that third type of star. But win basketball games, and obviously and Porzingis needs to stay healthy, and that's obviously going to attract free agents in the long run of things. Luka is only 21, so yeah. Denver Nuggets, can Michael Porter be a champion's third option? Yes, definitely in the long run. For right now, I don't think he really needs to be that. I feel like Aaron Gordon really takes the stress off of Michael Porter to need to be that guy all the time. If Michael Porter and Aaron Gordon come playoff time can kind of split duties at, hey, sometimes you have the 20-point game and sometimes I have the 20-point game. They'll be in a pretty good spot with that. But in the long term, yes, Michael Porter definitely, no doubt in my mind, could be a third option on a championship team. I actually think that's kind of ideal. Next up, we got the Detroit Pistons. Is Killian Hayes a cornerstone, man? So there's been, obviously early on in the NBA season, for good reason, a lot of people were hating on Killian Hayes. I think it was going a little bit too far, calling him a bust and stuff like that. But Killian, as of late, man, has been playing really good. He's come back immaculately from that injury, that hip labrum tear, whatever it was that he had. And but even like now, like his first game back, first two games back, his offense was still looking kind of strugglish out there. But I think when it comes to Killian Hayes now, him actually not playing with Derrick Rose and Blake Griffin is going to do good for his confidence, because obviously when you play with legends like that, it's like you might be second guessing some things. But I think Killian knows now that it's like, hey, this team's in a full on rebuild. There's no big time veterans out here. I can go out there, take my time. I know we're not making the playoffs, and just kind of do that. And he's looked a lot more comfortable, man. The dude's got a nice elite step back. The defense has been fantastic. That's what I absolutely love about him, is his defense, playmaking, elite court vision. So I don't know if Killian can be the best player on the Pistons for us to win a championship. But if he can be that second, third option, maybe that Kyle Lowry to the championship Raptors when they had Kawhi Leonard and Pascal Siakam. I think if he could be that. But yeah, man, I think there's definitely room for him to be a cornerstone to this team. I like him a lot, man. Next up, we got the Golden State Warriors. Is James Wiseman a better prospect or trade chip? 100% honest, man, I think he's a better trade chip. I recognize that Wiseman is going to be an elite guy in the NBA at the center position, but I think you also got to keep in the frame of reference of what are the Warriors right now next season. Well, you're going to be a 32-year-old Steph Curry, Klay Thompson coming off 2 seasons of injuries, Andrew Wiggins, who's playing his best basketball. James Wiseman is going to be a project, man. Every season he's going to get a little bit better and better, kind of like a Deandre Ayton, but you don't want to wait through 4 or 5 years for that to happen, right? So I think in the window of the Warriors, it would be better off trading him away. That's just my 100% honest opinion about that. Unless you think you can get some other guys on the team, but I'm pretty sure their cap space is not fantastic right now. Next up, we got Houston Rockets. What's the timeline? I think the timeline is the next few seasons is going to be some seasons of not good records, but we're going to see guys like Kevin Porter, Christian Wood continue to improve. Obviously get some lottery picks in there, although I don't think they have draft picks right now. I don't know their draft pick situation, but I don't believe it's great at the moment. But I think also, as those guys improve and become more veterans in the NBA, John Wall's contract will eventually run out. They'll free up a ton of cap space to maybe go for some other guys. So I would say that's it. I think right now they're in a rebuild with having a guy like John Wall at point guard. It'll still be fun to watch him play, but it's not going to lead to wins. Next up, we got the Indiana Pacers. Is the supersized front court working? Yes. I don't think there's anything wrong with their front court whatsoever. The Pacers are always a really good team. It's just this season, and last season, and the season before, they've been struck by injuries. If this team can stay completely healthy, man, like Sabonis and Miles Turner, that definitely works for me. I feel like this team's really missing TJ Warren's scoring. That kind of rhymed. So, I think it's completely fine. I don't see anything wrong with their front court. Both these guys, while they are taller players, just their style of plays, still works well in today's NBA. So I think it's completely fine. Next up, we got the Clippers. What's the fix at point guard? Well, right now, obviously, short term is Rajon Rondo. I feel like he'll be nice come playoff time for this team. Patrick Beverley, I think, is out for 4 weeks now, so we'll really see a lot more Rondo out there. Beyond that, though, man, I was really all for them going for a guy like Kyle Lowry. I really feel like that's the missing piece on their team. But Yeah, I think with Kawhi and Paul George out there, we're never going to see maybe like that superstar point guard join this team. But if they can just kind of, Beverly's nice. I don't know how like Beverly is a starter with this squad. I want more playmaking at that spot. Rondo can be that guy in the short term. So we'll kind of see, man. Next up, we got the Lakers. Does this supporting cast have enough? I guess what they're saying is like without LeBron and AD. Okay, so fact of the matter, man. I mean, seeding for the Lakers don't matter. It's like if they can pull off getting a top 10 seed by the time LeBron AD's back, like LeBron AD's not going to let them lose like the play-in game. They'll be fine. They'll be in the playoffs. That would be the biggest shocker in NBA history, though, if literally that happened. Like they fell to like the 10th seed, headed to the play-in game with LeBron AD, and they lost. Can you imagine, man? Like Lakers Nation would be destroyed, bro. Like at least on Twitter, at least for that day. But I think they'll be completely fine, man. Drummond looks like Drummond to me, which is not always a great thing, but I don't know. It's still early on with that whole experiment. Memphis Grizzlies. Who else is in the long-term core? Obviously, John Morant. I like Bane a lot. I still feel like Bane could be like that fourth option shooting guard for this team, which is not a bad thing to say. Jaren Jackson, obviously. I don't know if Brandon Clark has like a future as like a full-time starter alongside Jaren Jackson. I guess that could work, but yeah, they got some good young players over there, man. I like their team a lot, so it's they're going to continue getting better with time. Anyway. Next, D'Anthony Melton, love his defense. We got Miami Heat. Who handles power forward? It's going to need to be a supporting cast, I guess, man. I don't really know. I liked Jay Crowder last year. Like, he was just like a nice, like, short-term thing, but now they kind of have like these older players with Trevor Ariza, with Andre Iguodala playing it at times. I don't really know, man. I kind of wish they would have maybe taken care of that a little bit more come the trade deadline, just because like those are like good like veteran players, but also at the same time it's just like they are kind of up there in age and stuff too, man. So it's gonna be a weakness for them, but obviously the Miami Heat are still a really good team. I would not completely like hate the idea of Jimmy Butler even playing a little bit of power forward, man. I know it's probably not ideal, but he's got that grit and grindness to him where I think he could actually do okay there, and you can do more of like a 3-guard lineup with Oladipo, or even have like Dunk Robinson at the 3 spot or whatever, and Goran Dragic or Kyler Hero, whatever you really want to do. So that might be their best like long-term solution. Next up, we got the Milwaukee Bucks. Are they finally ready for playoff adjustments? They better be, bro, because if not, head coach Budweiser over there is probably going to be fired. So, you just gave Drew Holiday a very large contract, which he's been playing amazing basketball. But with that contract, there's not going to be a lot to like bring new to this team, so it's going to come down to playoff adjustments. And you have the talent to be the winners. It's just the NBA champions, but we'll see what coach can do. Minnesota Timberwolves. How does Karl Anthony Towns get more help? Health, I guess, would probably be the best thing when it comes down to it. Like, between like D'Lo getting injured and stuff like that. I know Cat being out, Malik Beasley out now. Like, we've still not really seen this team completely healthy. Like, that's really the help. Like, you look beyond that, man. Like, look at this team completely healthy, with D'Lo and Anthony Edwards, who's going to keep on getting better every single season. Malik Beasley, who's like an 18-point per game scorer. Cat, obviously. I mean, the power forward position is definitely weak. They literally have no defense. So, yeah, I mean, I would literally just, like, I guess try to improve defensively, I suppose. But that's really the only way. Next up, we got the Pelicans. Is Lonzo Ball sticking around? If I'm being honest, man, I'm going to say probably not. I got a feeling, he's obviously going to say the right things, because you don't want to say the wrong things and get yourself benched and stuff like that. He obviously wants to play and up his not his draft stock, his free agent stock and stuff like that, man. But I got a feeling he's probably leaving in the offseason. It's just a hunch. I could be completely wrong. So yeah, you guys let me know what y'all think. Next up, we got the Knicks. What's the plan at point guard? Quickly can obviously play the point guard spot, but I think he's more of a shooting guard. And I think there's going to be a lot of decent point guards out there in the free agency time, or maybe looking for a new home that they could obviously sign. I mean, one guy we just saw, Lonzo Ball. I've been saying Lonzo Ball is the perfect fit for this team, all season now. So, yeah, when you have this team playing like this, being the New York Knicks and everything, there's going to be some point guard out there that's going to want to be the head of that. So, yeah, they'll be good. Next up, we got the OKC Thunder. Other than SGA, who are the keepers? I think that Dort guy is pretty dang good. That Pokuševski, I believe Pokuševski, I think is how you say it. He's been looking like an absolute monster. He's extremely young. So, Yeah, the good thing about them is that they have all these draft picks too. So when you have these young players, you can attach those to draft picks to trade for other guys. Or, if this batch of young players, if you only get like 2 or 3 players that are keepers long term, then hey, you got all these draft picks to really refill out the new roster with new young guys going forward. So yeah, they got some decent guys out there. Baisley, I think, is pretty good. Orlando Magic, who leads this team into the future. I mean, you would like to think Isaac and Markelle Fultz, but if those guys don't stay healthy, then, at some point you got to make some sort of choice out there. They're obviously going to get a really good draft pick too, man. So we'll see. Hopefully health leads them into the future, man. I really want to see this team, for an entire season. Although now without Vucevic and stuff, it's going to be a different looking squad. Next up, we got the 76ers. Is their offense championship caliber? Yes. Tobias Harris is extremely underrated. He's having a really good season. Joel Embiid is averaging like 30 points per game. Seth Curry shoots threes and shoots them well, man. Ben Simmons, okay, maybe he doesn't like score like the most out of point guards in the NBA, but he's everything else really good out there. This team, no doubt in my mind, has the offense to win the championship. That's why they're one of the best teams in the NBA right now. Next up, we got the Suns. What's the right role for Deandre Ayton? That's a good question. If he can consistently be like that second scoring option on this team, that would be amazing. With CP3 obviously having his games where he goes off, or Mikal Bridges where he goes off. But yeah, as far as his role, I mean, dominant inside center that can stretch out a little bit, I guess, is the best way to do it. But really, the best service he's going to do for this team is rebounding the basketball and playing some good defense too. So being consistent out there, man. Maybe not always getting 20 shots a game, but the shots you get, make them. I guess it's the best way to say it, right? Next up, we got the Portland Trail Blazers. Will defense be their undoing again? I mean, I don't think Portland's going to win the championship, and that's not disrespectful. It's just, I don't think they're going to win. I think that's okay. Only one team wins it, man. So when I look at their roster, I think you would have to say it would have to be their defense, right? Maybe the center position between Nurkic and Enes Kanter. They're kind of whatever right now. So I think that would come down to probably defense. Sacramento Kings, what's the plan for Marvin Bagley? I think it's time to move on. I know they tried trading him for Saddiq Bey, and the Pistons said no to that. I actually like Marvin Bagley. If there would be a way to get him in Detroit without having to give up a guy like Saddiq Bey, I would definitely do it. But it seems like a change of scenery might be good for both sides. Nothing wrong with that. Next up, we got the Spurs. What is the end game? So I think the Spurs, I mean, Greg Popovich isn't going to tank. It's just not really in his nature. So I think they're going to fight and probably, they'll probably maybe get that 10th spot going for the play-in game or whatever. And continue running the young guys out there. Kellen Johnson, DeJounte Murray, all those guys look really good. So, yeah, I think they're going to be competitive for the rest of this season. But it's going to end at that. It's going to end at them being competitive. And then DeMar's probably gone after he is going to be gone after the season, I believe you already said. We got the Toronto Raptors. Is this the end of Kyle Lowry? I think so. I think it's just time to move on. That's okay, too. You guys won a championship with him. He gave you guys so many great seasons in Toronto, but he's up there in age. You have Fred VanVleet who can play point guard. That's a lot of cap space. He wants a $25 million contract after the season, which that money could be well utilized somewhere else. You got Gary Trent, so your backcourt's pretty much all set. You're going to probably get a decent draft. You got OG, Pascal, maybe go for a good center, although Chris Boucher, Dame as of late, maybe that's just it right there, right, man? So I think it's probably the end after the season. Utah Jazz, is there enough star power to support a championship run? I don't think there needs to be. This team, the way they are kind of constructed, kind of actually reminds me of the 03-04 Pistons. I do think Donovan Mitchell, the way he plays is, he puts up better numbers than anybody on that team really did, but different eras, obviously, like that. But, where Rudy's obviously Big Ben Wallace out there. So, I think they got enough, man. I don't know. I have some confidence in this team. And they're going to have a good stride going into it. I think the Jazz, hey, the Miami Heat were last year's surprise. I don't really want to call the Jazz a surprise because they're a top team already. But we'll see, man. I think they got it. I think there's also a tier for a guy like Bojan Bogdanovic to step up a little bit more. And that would give them even more, scoring power and stuff. So we'll see. I'm hoping for it. We got the Washington Wizards. How do they build a winner around Bradley Beal? Get some defense, maybe a new head coach, probably the best way to go. And that's the end of it, man. That is the end of that. So those are all the questions. Those are all the questions answered. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed this video, man. Be sure to drop that like, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and peace out, my friends.